Oh my god. After nearly 5 months of competition that has seen action take place at 8 different circuits in 6 different countries over 2 continents so far, we are now at the final gladiatorial arena of the current campaign here at the famed Hungaroring, which has hosted the Formula 1 Hungarian Grand Prix back from 1986, behind what was formerly known as the Iron Curtain, where a certain Formula 1 maestro, or maybe kingpin, if you want to call him that, Bernie Ecclestone, wanted a race in the former Soviet Union. This 4.381 kilometre, 2.722 mile circuit is both truly fast and technical in terms of a challenge, and requires the good balance between both momentum and precision to get the very best out of both man and machine, who should be in harmony. It also has very limited chances for drivers to overtake, but with persistence and dedication, anything is possible. Looking back over the 3rd season of the GT3 Sprint Championship here on Sim Racing Hub International in the Pro class, we've had 4 different winners in the last 8 races, where George Boothby has secured 50% of them, and with it has effectively become our Season 3 champion. Despite him not racing in Suzuka last time out, and he has opted not to compete in the final round of the season, where Adam Banfield, of all people, vanquished all rivals that came into his general direction. The battle for P2 is still very much open, with 14 points separating 2 Flying Dutchmen, Niels van der Kekkel and Sam Spenkelink, with the former being a lot more consistent over the 6 rounds that he has raced in. But the wins at both Barcelona and Spa-Francorchamps have kept the number 64 from Dark Sky Racing very much in the mix. Now in the semi-pro division, it was Patrick Vance, it's now Giorgio Raimondi that leads the division, who was at the sharp end of the leaderboard in terms of once being there until Suzuka last time out. Keep your eyes on the likes of Dennis Werkman, who currently sits 3rd in the class, a single point behind Vance in terms of overall class points, but don't count out the likes of Bart Svedink and Tim Neibauer, who are within striking distance. Good evening, hello, welcome to the Magyarország district here in Hungary, not too far outside of the capital city of Budapest. And hello from myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Steve Proudly, your official commentary duo that it has been the case since the 2nd of February when we jumped on this roller coaster ride, starting at the Nürburgring before we headed to Misano, Silverstone, Barcelona, Zolder, Spa-Francorchamps, Imola, Suzuka just a couple of weeks ago, and here at Hungary. And we'd also like to say a big thank you to SimSport Solutions for their assistance in producing what has been a fine broadcast so far. Steve, buddy, can't believe it. Nearly 5 months have gone by and we're at the last race of the season. How's about that one?
Absolutely, mate, and thank you for a fantastic and informative and eloquently delivered introduction there, Alex. That was fantastic. But yeah, five months of epic racing. I mean, every single round has been phenomenal. It's been nail-biting at times. It's been action-packed, and you know, it's almost a shame that it is what it is with Boothby wrapping the series up. But there's still plenty to play for out here on track with the Pro and the AMs. And just for bragging rights, you know, we know these guys are going to race hard. They're going to take it to the last lap. They're going to take it to the checkered flag. It's going to be a good race tonight, as always. And the Hungaroring, it's a good circuit. It's a real racetrack. It can be difficult to overtake, but there are opportunities, and opportunities are plenty. And we know from these drivers that compete round after round with the SRHI GT3, they're not shy in trying to make an opportunity when maybe one doesn't always present itself. They will battle hard. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. The guys are out on track at the moment, just setting some early qualifying laps. But yeah, we're good to go, Alex, and I'm really excited for this one.
Well, without further ado, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's head trackside at the Hungaroring, and the first thing that strikes out is 44 degrees Celsius track temperature. Obviously mandatory pit stop, it's a 1 hour race, a half-hour qualifying session. They've got a mandatory tyre change, but the biggest thing here, Steve, as we now, well, I think firstly, should I just do my usual specialty if we can, going through on a hot lap here on SRHI GT3 action as we ride on board with, of all people, Dave Jr. in the wonderful Artworks Brawn GP tribute livery, the Mercedes GT3 Evo. Now he's heading up towards the far part of the circuit, so we're going to be running into the turn 5 and 6 complex here. The turn 6 normally goes back onto itself. And then realistically from this aspect, this is where you've got to be really precise. You've got to carry the momentum through the corners and through into the right-left chicane. Not too much curb taken by Dave through the right-hander, but a bit more taken through the left-hander. And this is where you really build the momentum, carry the speed through. Nice on the apex. Down on, I think it is effectively turn 10 as we are, well, turn 9 as we're now going to go through into 10, now down into turn 11. Now, obviously the Hungaroring has one distinct factor in the fact that you have a 12 and a 12A, and you also have a 1 and a 1A corner. But Dave Jr. has set the initial benchmark of a 1 minute 44.442. He's now making his way through turn 12 and into turn 12A before turn 13. And he's got a Mercedes just up ahead, and at the moment he's just over 2 tenths quicker than Arvin Nam in the number 5 Lamborghini Huracan. And Dave Jr. crosses the line, goes just over a tenth quicker. And we have just under 24.5 minutes to go. A pretty solid lap. The Mercedes always a rocket ship around here at the Hungaroring, but we do know that you never can count out the Lexus cars.
Absolutely not. No, the Lexuses, the Hondas as well. There's a good variation of cars out here. The Porsche isn't a bad car around here, and speaking from experience of racing that myself around Hungaroring a few times, it's an enjoyable car to drive. It likes the twisty stuff, it can get out of the corners, so it'll be interesting to see what Sem Spenkling can do in the Porsche this evening. The Mercedes, the Audis, all very, very good cars. This track, it's going to be interesting. It's got some high speed stuff, it's got some fast flowing corners. It's going to challenge the drivers tonight. We know it can be quite hard on the tyres. They're going to have to do their mandatory pit stop, but first of all they're going to have to get the best lap they can in qualifying, and at the moment Dave Jr. is sitting pretty with that provisional pole position, but he's not sitting there by much, is he? 0.084 of a second. As usual, and as we come to expect with SRHI qualifying sessions, it's going to be tight, it's going to be close, and I expect to see them bunched up even more than that. If you want to follow them and follow the live timings, as you can see there, this is what myself and Alex are following on Pit Wall Live. You can see the drivers, their standings, their sector times, there is a track map, and you can do many more things on Pit Wall Live, so please check that out and look for the SRHI server, and you will get the live timings just the same as myself and Alex do.
Yeah, and also in a week's time, 6th of July, the final race, race 9 of the Season 2 of GT4 Sprint Championship. We'll head to the Eifel region, the Nürburgring, where Steve will be joining Tim Fulbrook for that season finale, and I understand that is even more competitive than what we've seen in GT3 this season. 22.5 minutes to go. Top 26, which is rounded out by Dennis Werkman, third in the championship standings in semi-pro at the moment. But all that Giorgio Raimondi has to do is finish ahead of Patrick Bunst, and he secures the title. But don't, as I said, don't count out the likes of Bart Sveding, the likes of Tim Neubauer. Tim Neubauer scored a victory earlier on this season. That Audi could have a possibility of a good run here. Yannick Valenduk in the SRHI Esports Lamborghini Huracan rounds out the top 7. So we have 2 Lamborghinis, 2 Ferraris, a Honda, thanks to Tim Muris. And here comes Joris Evelins, brings the highest placed semi-pro car into the top 6. So we now have 2 Hondas. Here's Pete Vanya. Hasn't been a great season for the number 34. He's been involved in a few contretemps, sometimes of his own accidental making. And sometimes it's through others. Clay Barney goes top of the timesheets in the McLaren 720S GT3, a 1 minute 44.181. Now, obviously, we talked about the challenges of this track earlier, but obviously, coming into the session with a few minutes to go, a few minutes gone, we've had a brief yellow flag out there. Effectively, the track temperature is going to be a real talking point here, Steve, and the reason being is the degradation side of things, because the hot temperatures, these sidewalls on these tyres are going to be absolutely tortured, whether you're going left or whether you're going right, but also the fact that the degradation is actually worse in hotter temperatures.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as with, I suppose any racetrack, the tyres are under big load, but here, like I said, we have some high-speed straights, which, generates a lot of heat into the tyres. We get some heavy braking zones into turn 1, again, generating a lot of heat. And then you have the forces, as you say, on the sidewalls, through some of the fast corners, the slow corners. There is every configuration of corners, left, right, lefts, whatever. They're just under load so much of the time here. And with the heat from the brakes, from the track temp as well, as you said, the track temperature is 44 degrees, which is, it's not excessively high for a racetrack temperature, but it's going to be hard on the tyres. We may see some people's times during the race, dropping as they fall off the pace as their tyres start to suffer. Hopefully not, but it is something that we do see, and it can become a game of tyre management for some of the guys. Just looking at Spenkling at the moment, currently in 7th, 3 tenths off. He's at the moment 8 tenths up so this could be a barnstorming provisional pole lap by quite some margin if he manages to maintain the time, and if this lap is indeed a clean lap and he hasn't infringed the track limits at any point. But he's coming round the second to last corner now. He's going to chuck it into the final turn onto the start finish straight. I can tell you now he's 9/10 up currently. He's just lost another tenth there with that little bit of a squiggle coming out, but he's a good time, and he's nearly half a second faster than P2 at the moment. So Spenkling really setting his intentions out tonight.
Yeah, because the thing is that if he wins this race, he effectively secures second in the championship. No Niels van der Kerkelt this evening. Obviously, Niels has been very busy, as has George Boothby in a variety of different other championships. Here's our resident Honda Jedi, that is the man, the myth, the legend, that is the one and only from Dynamic Motorsports, Mr. Chris Hill. We saw that he was definitely able to use his Jedi mind tricks last time out at Suzuka to great effect, and he made up over 10 positions by the checkered flag. In free practice, he was running as high as 7th. And what's his sector times looking at like the moment, Steve?
He's up on his personal best at the moment by a couple of tenths, so he's going to improve. We're going to see a small improvement as we do there. Look, he goes up to P15, 1.4 seconds off pole time. But it's Chris, we know he's in it for the long run. He's he'll qualify somewhere around there in the top 10, but he'll be looking for the race pace as he unceremoniously parks it against the tyre wall there. Typical Englishman there, just parking wherever there's a space. But we're watching Jordi Bakker at the minute.
you know, that sounds to me like an NCP car park just off the main shopping centre with that kind of analogy there, Steve. Jordi Bakker, one of the many Pulse Motorsport Lexus RCF GT3s, 5.4 litre naturally aspirated V8, still competing in IMSA at this particular moment in time with the Vassar crew, but that car no longer has, in real life terminology, the fact of factory Lexus support. So the teams are effectively now privateers and are still able to call on Lexus customer racing to compete. But Sem Spenkling with nearly a half-second advantage, and I'm not at all surprised here, because look at it from this perspective. Okay, top 7 different manufacturers. Porsche leads from Lexus, McLaren, Mercedes. Arvin Num's just gone ahead of Tim Muris in the Honda, and Dan Lenson, who was in the Discord chat having a bit of a discussion with Yannick Valenduk, who basically said you're knackered because the Bentley and the Ferrari have been hit a little bit ahead of Hungaroring. And he said, well, at least I'll be able to blame the car if anything goes wrong. Well, as they say, the old adage, a good workman blames his tools when things go wrong, Steve, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And talking of good workman, Aaron van Drunen, he's looking for a little bit more good luck this evening, and he's promised us he's going to finish this race, but he's making hard work of it at the moment, and his best lap is 2.3 seconds, well 2.4 for round figures, away from the current pole time, and we would expect Aaron really to be close, if not in that top 10. His last lap was a quick lap. It was about 6/10 quicker than his best, but it was he dirtied it, I believe, on the exit of the final corner. He ran very wide, so it's track limits that are just causing him a problem at the moment. He's got some more speed, he's just got to keep it within the confines of those limits, and he's pushing very hard there, and he's actually absolutely just lost it. So that's going to be that's going to put pay to that lap for Aaron van Drunen. Is he going to go back to the pits, or is he just going to carry on? Looks like he's regrouping. He's going to carry on, and he's going to have another run. So it'll be interesting to see where Aaron can get up onto the timing screen. We've got Jordi Bakker just exiting the pits now. He's going to come out for another run, see what he can do, see if we can get some improvement. I'm just looking down the timing board now, Alex, and at the moment we don't have many green sectors. With that 15 minutes to go, I think it follows a pattern, doesn't it? The SRHI qualifying sessions, they all set a time, they get the banker laps in, then it goes a little bit quiet. They keep putting a little bit of rubber down, nobody really improves, and then all of a sudden the last 10 minutes it lights up green and we start to see improvements. But at the moment they are going to have to improve, because look at Spenkling, they're nearly half a second clear at the moment.
Yeah, it's always it's a bit like the old school Formula 1 qualifying back in the days, where they used to go out for like 2-hour sessions and they you know, build rubber over time, and then all of a sudden floodgates open and everyone decides, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And when you have 30 odd cars going around the track, and okay, it's just over 4 kilometres in length, just 2.7 miles this circuit. It's not going to be easy, especially when you want to jockey for track position. Clayton Barney at the moment, the leading, well, actually out of the entire grid, is the only McLaren 720S on this field, and he's running P3 at the moment, and hopefully we'll see whether he improves in terms of his sector times. But at Odyssey Racing 85, McLaren looks rather planted at the moment, looks very well composed, Steve.
Yeah, he's doing a solid job at the moment, as you say, in P3, and he's currently 2/10 up on his best time, so he's going to go some way to maybe closing that gap and absolutely getting him on himself potentially on that front row as well, if he can just maintain that advantage. In fact, he's gone up another 10th, he's 3/10 up now as he exits the final corner, and he's going to take it over the line. I think we might see him on the front row, indeed we do, and he's closed it down to just over 2/10 behind Spenklink now, so he's closed the gap, a man on the move. Could this be the floodgates opening? Could this be when we start to see some more of the drivers improving on their lap times? Most of the cars, and I say most of the cars are out on track again now. It is a very, very busy track, so everybody will be looking for that clean air. They're all looking for that little bit of extra grip, and more importantly, they're all looking for that little bit of extra time to gain. So let's see how this unfolds now for the last 13 minutes. See if anyone can challenge Spenklink for that pole.
Yeah, Patrick Treffers and the Sol Nissan. No, I think I'm just trying to remember who it was. Was it Simon Zimmerman? I think it was that we had in the other Nissan. I mean, obviously, we have to look back at what happened as Dennis Werkman goes a bit wide, and that allows Arvin Nam to get past. Yellow flags come out briefly. I mean, Clayton Barney had the biggest bit of worse luck at Suzuka in the opening stages. The first, they came through the first corner, went into the S complex, and all of a sudden Barney had terminal damage to that McLaren. And I think he's got a point to prove tonight. He knows that there's no pressure on, there's no need to worry about championship position, because the person that's got the pressure all on his shoulders at the moment, despite the fact that they'll be soaking that up like a sponge, and that'll be Sam Spenklink, Clayton Barney wants to show the might of the McLaren 720S GT3 around this circuit, and getting himself on the front row is a good thing, because the times in qualifying are not respective of the race pace that we're going to see for an hour, and Barney will be on level pegging, and we know for a fact that the McLaren has a lot more torque than the Porsche, and especially getting off on the line, especially on a rolling start, that McLaren could easily pass that Porsche going into the first couple of corners, and it's dependent on how brave and brazen Barney is going into T1.
Yeah, do you know something else that's a little bit interesting as well, Alex? Just before we went live this evening, there was an update to ACC, and reading the release notes, the patch notes for the work that's been done in there and the fixes that it includes, the Porsche has had a little bit of an aero improvement to give it a little bit more top speed. Whether that's at all tracks or certain tracks, I'm not sure. The details weren't there because we know all the cars are bopped slightly differently for every circuit, but I'm not sure whether it will make a difference here this evening, but it may be to Spenklink's advantage, it may not. We will have to wait and see. But as you say, that McLaren, it is a rocket ship in a straight line. It is a very, very quick car, and in the right hands it's a quick car at any point on the track, and it's going to be a challenge, but we know how good Spenklink is. We know the pressure that he can soak up, and we know that he's an out-and-out racer, and he likes a challenge. So I'm looking forward to this one. It's not all done and dusted that he's on pole position at the moment, but he's definitely hot favourite as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, so at the minute, Patrick Vance, I've just noticed, is in the pit lane, trailing Giorgio Raimondi, who rounds out the top 10. By 10 points coming into the overall classification, and Sam Spenklink about to cross the line once again. That was a bit more of an outlap there, as we've had a brief yellow flag out, but Spenklink, we're now going to see, now literally you just see how hard you have to be on the brakes going into turn 1 and then 1A, because it's sort of like it hooks around. It's a bit like the kink at Kyle Army. You carry that momentum through, then it's hard on the brakes, goes a little bit off camber, a little bit downhill here through turn 2, and then into the right hander at 3, which is where you really mash the throttle. You don't want to pick up that throttle too quickly coming through the apex, because especially on a rear wheel drive, rear engine car such as the Porsche, you could really spin the car around, light up the rear tyres, and all of a sudden the back end swaps around, and there you go. But that was a bit of a good catch there from Sem Spenkelink through T5. He's aborted that lap, but I think he had a bit of a virtual code brown when the back end stepped out to the right hand side. And I did say about throttle pickup, I think he just went a bit too early through that corner, as Matas Marques absolutely exceeding track limits like a good one. No, nearly went rally crossing into the barriers there if he wasn't careful, but Joris Everleens in the number 17 Dynamic Motorsports Honda is the top semi-pro driver. Yannick Valenduk looking to improve, but that was an invalidated lap last time around, and that 1 minute 44.295 would have put him actually in 5th position and would have dropped Arvin Nahm to the outside of row number 3. So Yannick Valenduk has also got to watch his P's and Q's, especially on track limits, as we both very well know.
Yeah, absolutely, and Aaron Van Drunen, good to see he has actually managed to just put a lap in. I was going to cut to him because I saw he was up on his time, but he crossed the line before I could get there. But he's now in P14, which is a little bit more sort of representative of where we would expect to see Aaron. He's definitely a top 10 runner, but you know, with the competition that's out there, it's not a bad place to be. As long as you're in that top 15, you know, you've got a chance, haven't you? You know, you can battle away, and we know the opening laps here can be a little bit frenetic, and you know, positions can be gained as well as lost, so it'll be interesting to see how Aaron gets away from the start. But that's definitely not a bad place to be. A lot better than where he was when we looked at him earlier, and he was down in 29th, but still pushing on with 7 or just under 8 minutes left to go, so still pushing on, plenty of more time to get plenty more laps in and hopefully find that little bit more time. Where he is at the moment in P14, it's not going to take much of a time gain to actually jump him up into that top 10, Alex.
Very much the case. I mean, I've just seen Michiel Hartmann on the YouTube chat, so good evening. He's just put exclamation Yannick, and then it just put the Nightbot in the chat, got compared to Hamilton when complaining about whether and still won the race 2021. JBot Gaming says, let's go Clayt Barney and Matas Marques. Marques currently rounding out the top 3, just under half a second behind Sem Spenkelink. So it is the battle between Spenkelink and Barney that is for pole position, as Matas Marques decides to pull the Mode 11 Racing number 20 Lexus into the pits. A very, very good lap time. Dave Jr. in the pits at the moment. Arvin Nahm, Tim Muris, Dan Lenson in the Ferrari up into 7th. Joris Everleens, the leading semi-pro qualifier in this race. But Giorgio Raimondi is 2nd in semi-pro, but rounds out the top 10, and he's 3 places ahead of Patrick Vunst. There's Jordi Barker, who's ahead of his Pulse Motorsport teammate Vunst in 12th place. So good to see that the semi-pros also do a really good job in qualifying. We've seen that from Raimondi, Vunst, Barker and Nybauer, but we haven't seen it from Everleens this season, and now to see the Honda really come good here, Jordi Barker puts it into 8th place and deposes Everleens off of the provisional pole for semi-pro. Michiel Hartmann's now gone exclamation Anthony. Nightbot's just gone no fuel left. There's plenty of banter here at Sim Racing Hub International, as both myself, Steve, Tim Fulbrook, and also Cameron McKillen, and also David Russell, who have been part of the commentary team, especially when we've been doing the Mixed Endurance Championships. You can head to SRHI.eu for further information about the upcoming races because obviously Season 4 for GT3 takes a break until early September, so it gives people a bit of a respite, so to speak, and to enjoy a little bit of the summer. If you get the right weather for it, and sometimes here in the United Kingdom, both myself and Steve can both testify to that it never always happens when you want it to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult, isn't it? It's. I mean, they're going to get some good weather this evening, Alex, and I think that the track conditions are going to be absolutely optimum tonight. And I think we're going to have some good racing tonight. I think everything's going to go hunky dory. We're just seeing the cars are all out on track now, and this is the magic 5 minutes, isn't it? This is where they're all going out. They've all got the intention of literally. They've got 2 laps, 3 laps at the max in the bank now to go out. They've probably got 4 laps worth of fuel just to cover it, and they're going to go out and they're going to see what they can do. But that lap of Spenkling, that's not been challenged as yet by anybody, has it? And he set that with over 15 minutes left of the session, so he set that before the halfway point. So that's a fantastic lap from him, and I think that's a real sign of what's to come this evening. I think if he manages to maintain that pole position and he gets a good start, like you say, the challenge from Banny down into the first corner, if he can fend that off, he could be the man to watch, because he will start to steal a march, I think, on the other guys.
Yeah, so here we are with the number 64, Sam Spenkling, normally joined by Nard Cox. Nard Cox not feeling 100%. He's a bit under the weather, is Nard Cox. So get well soon, Nard. Hopefully we'll see you back for season 4. There's yellow flags briefly coming out. There's been a couple of cars off the circuit, one of which is the number 99. And the other one being the number 8. So number 8 is Dimitri Schenk. Number 99, a little bit further up the order, that's Jordi Bakker. So they both had a couple of incidents which have brought out a brief yellow flag. Sam Spenkling across the line. And he puts in a 1 minute 43.632. So that consistency is starting to show. And now we're going to see, I think, a bit of a rip-roarer from Sam Spenkling. But we can't count out Clayton Barney. I think also dark horses in this qualifying session. You've got the 3 behind: Matas Marques, Dave Jr. and Arvin Nam. Maybe even Tim Muris, who is 23 thousandths slower than Arvin Nam on his optimum lap time here in quali. You know, any one of the top 6 could really get a good run, but Clayton Barney is absolutely trying to do his level best. Here's Arvin Nam up into what is going to be turn number 4. You can see how hard he's pushing, and there are yellow flags out going through into turn number 5. So someone has had a bit of an off-track moment. Michael Hartmann actually giving us a little bit of information, saying Porsche is like a rocket on those stop corners. Yes, Michael, but it's about who gets the jump on the start. And here comes Sam Spenkling. He's making his way through into turn 11. How's his sector times looking, Steve?
He's a 10th up at the moment. He has been up to 3/10 up at one point, but he just lost a little bit of time, so that is worrying. He has got more time in this lap if he can put it together. When I say it's worrying for everyone else. But is he going to get held up a little bit here? No. Julie gets out of the way, so Spenkling comes round. He's still got that 10th, but I fear that might have cost him a little bit there. Is he going to maintain it? I mean, a 10th, you know, it doesn't sound a lot, but that's going to put him back nearly 4/10 clear of anyone else. He's actually gained a bucket full of time through that last corner. If this is clean, he's got 3/10. He's back over half a second faster than anybody else. That's an awesome lap for Spenkling. He gained 3/10 in that last corner on its own. He went round there, and that Porsche was glued to the track. He got the drive out the corner, and that's given him a half a second advantage on the lap time. If that's not telling your competitors you are, then I don't know what. You know, that's awesome lap from Sem. Awesome.
I think now the warning shot has been fired across the bow of that bonnet for Clayton Barney ahead of the race start. A 1 minute 43.305. Clayton Barney has to find over 5.5 tenths of a second as he gets past Tim Nybauer, and that is going through into what is turn 5. Now into 6 and 7. He's got to make it nice and clean through here. Not too much curb hopping. And you can see that Clayton Barney's using every bit of the curb and then some, but not exceeding track limits to the point where his lap will be invalidated, as now he makes his way down through into the final sector of the circuit here at the Hungaroring, just a shade over 2.7 miles, and he's just got a couple more corners to negotiate. And that looks to be the Nissan of Patrick Treffers, and Clayton Barney has aborted that lap. That basically guarantees Sam Spenkling has got pole for the final race of the season, and Sam Spenkling now knows, that pole position lap time, I think I might even have a bit more. You know what's going to be even funnier? Well, there's Simon Zimmerman He's crossed the line. He's way down in 30th, but Sem Spenkelink, if he's very, very quick indeed, he's going to come across the line. I think he's got one more lap, and he could actually go for... He could get a chance. 0 on the timer. That's it for the session. And I wonder, are we going to have an alien-esque moment from Sem Spenkelink? We normally see it from George Boothby, but Sem Spenkelink from Dark Sky Racing has been untouchable in this half-hour qualifying session. Yannick Valenduk jumps up into P5 on a 1 minute 44.295, so no invalidated lap time there for the Lamborghini, and that puts him ahead of Arvin Nahm. Now, can Simon Zimmerman do anything, because he joined the session rather late? Dimitri Schenk will start 31st and last, but yeah, just to see how things are now with regards to Zimmerman. How's he doing?
He is half a second up on his previous personal best, and I have to say, Zimmerman, we expect to see him higher. We know the Nissan is not the easiest car to extract all the speed from. It's not maybe the most nimble of cars, but Zimmerman is a top quality, top class driver, so we do expect to see him a little bit further up. He's got half a second in the hand at the moment, 6/10 make that as he comes to the close of the lap. Just to keep you informed on Spenkelink, he's actually down on his time, so he's just literally ticking the boxes on this last lap. He's not going to improve, but does he really need to? But Zimmerman is going to improve. He's half a second up. He's going to carry that through the line. He's lost a little bit through the last corner. He's now only 4/10, but he's going to be an improvement for him. Not the improvement we thought he might make, and not the qualifying session, and not where I expected to see Zimmerman, I'll be honest.
But qualifying now completed for that, and what a howitzer. Sem Spenkelink with a definite intent of statement right there, with the amount of pace he's got in that Porsche. Oh, I think Clayton Barney's actually got his work cut out from him, not just through the start, but the entire race. And a big thank you to Michael Hartmann for saying Porsche is like a rocket on those start-stop corners. And then he goes, "Told you." Well, we like it when people from the outside look in. And yeah, Anthony Terhorst joins us in the YouTube chat, and he just puts exclamation mark pizza, and he goes. And the Nightbot goes, RIP 101, we'll take your pizza order. Well, you might have to DM them that one, Anthony, and see if it can be delivered rather quickly. But there is the grid. Just over 2 minutes to go until the full formation lap. 60 final minutes of Season 3 of the Sim Racing Hub International GT3 Sprint Series here at the Hungaroring. Alex Goldschmidt, Steve Proudly, your commentators, and with the broadcast here on SRHI.eu being provided courtesy of Sim Sport Solutions. So, Sem Spenkelink starts on pole position. Clayton Barney in second, alongside him on the front row. Then it's Lexus and Mercedes with Matas Marques and Dave Jr. Yannick Valenduk and Arvin Nahm make it an all-Lamborghini row 3. Row 4, it's Honda versus Ferrari with Tim Muris and Klaas Vester, and Dan Lenson being the last of the pro drivers in the top 10, because taking pole in semi-pro, it is the Lexus, the number 99 of Jordi Bakker, and then you round that out with 6, including Bakker, of semi-pro drivers. Joris Everlins, Giorgio Raimondi, the current semi-pro leader, Bart Sverink, Xander Vale, and rounding out the top 15 is Patrick Vunst. Then we got Adam Banfield, winner last time out at Suzuka. He starts 16th. Adam van Droonen starts 17th. Martin van der Kraan 18th. Brent Wever and Benjamin Simmers rounds out the top 20. Tim Nyboer, Tim Cole, Bas van Mellis, Chris Hill, Patrick Treffers, Piet Vanier, Dennis Werkman, Simon Pike, Simon Zimmerman, Ron Eiserief, who makes his return to the championship, and Dimitri Schenk. That is your 31 strong grid. And JBot Gaming says, was going to join next season with you lot, but that lap time in those temperatures, obviously he's talking about Sem Spenkelink there, scared him. Well,
don't be scared.
Yes.
Don't be scared. You only get better by challenging yourself with faster drivers. That's the attitude.
Exactly.
Get in there, get competitive, and get racing.
Indeed. So we are seconds away for our final formation lap. The 9th race of the season brings the championship to a close. George Boothby is effectively your championship victor, but now Can Sem Spenkelink convert this pole position to a win at the end of 60 minutes of racing, or will drama intervene? Well, we are very, very soonly going to find out what is going to happen. And also a good point made by Anthony Terhorst to JBot Gaming. No worries, we also provided Tier 2. So both Tier 1 and Tier 2 are being broadcasted, with Tier 1 being provided with commentary. And Michiel Hutman says, some say that Sem Spenkelink escaped from Area 51. Well, he's probably not the only one, Michiel, I think, on that particular occasion. With that lap time he showed, it is a sign of things to come. So, Steve, just your final thoughts ahead of what is looking to be a grandstand finale for the 9th and final race of Season 3.
Final thoughts on what's going to happen? I mean, who can predict? I have no idea. I mean, Sem Spenkelink has done what we've wanted him to do all season. He has absolutely blown them away in qualifying. We know he's got that potential. We know he's got that pace. He doesn't always show it in quali, but he always certainly shows it in the race, and this is a danger, I think, now to everybody else. I think, as I said earlier, he's got that pole position by a margin. He's shown that he's got lap time. If that's his race pace, if he's got the similar sort of lap times in race pace, Barney really needs to get the hammer down off the start. He needs to try and get that advantage into the first corner, which is going to be difficult, because if Spenkelink gets away, he's going to get away and he's going to gap them. Watch out for Junior, watch out for Valenduk. You know, those two drivers, they are quick drivers as well. You know, they will not be happy where they are. They will want to move forward. Banny, he's a quick driver. We've seen him make a couple of mistakes here and there, so he just needs to keep it all together. He's well deserved in second place, and he's very, very capable of finishing in second place, as long as he can just keep himself composed, keep himself consistent. But this is going to be a cracking race, Alex, and I'm going to hand over to you now, because they're going to start forming up 2 by 2, and they're going to get ready for the green lights, and we're going to go racing very soon at Hungaroring.
Yes, indeed, Steve. 2 by 2, hurrah, in the rolling start formation. So your pole sitters for the final time in Pro and Semi-Pro. Sem Spenkelink in the number 64 from Dark Sky Racing, and then it's Pulse Motorsports Jordi Bakker that starts on the inside of row number 5 for Semi-Pro pole position. We are moments away. The anticipation builds as we wait. It's going to be Spenkelink versus Clayton Barney on the front row of the grid. Will the Porsche have the jump on the McLaren? Well, we're about to find out. 1 hour, 60 minutes, a mandatory tyre pit stop, and it's all to play for as Sem Spenkelink chases the runner-up spot in the championship, which George Boothby already having decided to take the title and sit out for the last 2 rounds. They keep us waiting as we are ready. We are steady, and for the final time this season at the Hungaroring, we go green, and it's a brilliant launch from Sem Spenkelink. He got the jump, nicely done on Clayton Barney. Matas Marques coming under fire from Dave Jr. as they head into T1, but it's a bit of a, oh my goodness me, Dave Jr. goes around the outside. He nigh on outbrakes himself there, and that has given the opportunity to keep third position for Matas Marques through into turn 1A. Everyone making it through. Well, there has been a little bit of an incident between Patrick Runst and Bart Svernink in the first couple of corners. Also, the number 58 of Giorgio Raimondi and also Jordi Bakker, they've all had a little bit of a moment, and there are yellow flags out on the circuit. But Sem Spenkelink, Steve, already has managed to get away whilst the sun has shone in his general direction, and he absolutely left Clayton Barney in the McLaren standing still.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. I mean, the racing there from the start was absolutely awesome. They went 3 wide into turn 1, but there was only one winner there, with Spenkelink coming out in front, and the rest of the guys now behind are battling very, very hard. There has been a little bit of contact here and there throughout the field, and I may be able to get some sort of replay once they all settle down and get into some sort of racing rhythm. But for now, yeah, Spenkelink is doing what we thought he would do. He's starting to run away. He's over over half a second ahead now, nearly a second. Now they've just gone through another sector, and the battling is really very much behind him for the other podium spots. So let's hope Spenkling doesn't make a mistake, and he's got every opportunity to control this race. But this is going to pan out to be a fantastic race now, as the McLaren. We're going to watch the McLaren now. It is going to really probably stretch its legs, as they say, down the start-finish straight now. See if it actually closes up on the back of Spenkling at all on the top speed, but he's already a second behind. That's a massive margin from lap 1, Alex, considering they were side by side into T1.
And it sounds like, Steve, we've not even gotten 3 minutes into this race, and your dulcet tones have started to fade already, my friend. you need to hydrate a bit more, buddy.
Absolutely, yeah. Another beer. No, it was, yeah. I mean, the qualifying was exciting enough for me, and the build-up to this race. As we know, we always get great racing here, so I'm just very, very excited for the racing, and I will try and hydrate, and I will keep my voice fresh, or as fresh as I possibly can, mate.
Indeed. So Sam Spenkling, to secure the runner-up spot in the championship, needs to finish no lower than 5th, but he will want to secure it with the maximum score available. Now, Dave Jr. was one of the standout drivers in the fact that he got a real good launch, but then went deep onto the brakes, used a bit of bravado, but it didn't pay off because it allowed Matas Marquez to keep second position. But the Mercedes, we saw Dave Jr. rather quick in qualification a little bit earlier on. He was right up at the sharp end of the field very early in the session, and effectively Sam Spenkling's lead was just over 1 second. He's doing Sebastian Vettel, is Sam Spenkling, because there is Dave Jr. looking up the inside of Matas Marquez. The Lexus a little bit more balanced than the Mercedes, but there Dave Jr. is looking one way. He's trying to give Matas Marquez the old Nigel Mansell dummy.
Absolutely, yeah, and there's just a little bit of battling going on further down with Tim Kroll and Patrick Wonst here. They've just been side by side through several corners and looking very, very close, and it's looking like Tim Kroll's wanting to be passed and up into that P13 as soon as possible. Don't worry, folks, I am keeping an eye on those P2, P3 and P4 as well. I'll cut back to the action. Look at Tim Kroll, way out wide. That's not the track, that's the car park, Tim. Come on, lad, get back on the circuit.
He nearly jumped the fence on that one as well, but Matas Marquez really being put under the kibosh courtesy of Dave Jr. Clayton Barney is now starting to stretch a little bit of an advantage over the Lexus to the tune of about half a second, but keep your eyes on Arvin Nahm down in 5th place. Now, there has been a bit of a drama because there is one car that I do not see, and that is Yannick Valenduk, who has had an incident in the 301, and he's right down in stone dead. Well, he's managing to gain some positions back, but Yannick Valenduk qualified in the top 8, and he's now finding himself right down at the tail end, Charlie, the field, as going through into turn 6 and 7 go the likes of Barney Marquez Jr., Arvin Nahm, and you can't really separate this trio here. It's soon to become a quartet if Arvin Nahm picks up the pace in the Lamborghini Huracan, as Nahm actually started behind Joris Evelins, as Yannick Valenduk started P5. Arvin Nahm was pipped at the post by the 301. So we're into the first 5 minutes, and at the moment Sam Spenkling is romping away with things at the moment. He's just gone purple once again, 1 minute 44.730, and at this particular track at the Hungaroring, Steve, the biggest thing, apart from those slight aerodynamics tweaks in the new patch here on Assetto Corsa Competizione, Sam Spenkling is wringing the neck of that flat 4 litre flat 6 boxer engine in that Porsche right now.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do. He's doing what we know he can do, and he's setting his stall out very early. He's looking to try and gain that advantage. I am, just forgive my vagueness, because I have just found the incident for Valenduk, and I'm going to bring that to you all very shortly in the nature of a replay. So if you can just bear with, here we go with a replay.
Okay, let's have a look. So that's with Martin van der Kraan, and he tags van der Kraan, and at concertinas, Tim Nyboer gets turned around. They're all scrabbling for track position. So, and he gets clattered into by one of the Aston Martins, does Valenduk. Ouch, that is not what Yannick Valenduk wanted. I think I think in some respects he's had the bad luck that Adam van Drooijen's had for quite a few races. But look who's at the front of the semi-pro category. Giorgio Raimondi is now up into 8th position. There's Patrick Vance, who's trying to close in and is hoping that Lady Luck does not shine for Raimondi, as there's a bit of a mistake there from Zandervale. And the 808, and up the inside goes Patrick Vance. And Zandervale keeps the position. Vance to the outside, they're nearly rubbing door panels. Just behind him is Tim Kroll. Vance runs wide and goes up the inside. He absolutely launched that. Oh my goodness, this is a hell of a three-way scrap between 3 Lexus RCF GT3s. And what's happened here? Zandervale has dropped 2 positions, so has gone from 12th to 14th, and there goes Martin van der Klaan in the 253 Mercedes up the inside of the 808s. Well, nearly does. And then just behind you've got Benjamin Simmers in the 236. So 2 Mercs battling against a single solitary Lexus that is now finding itself on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Really racing hard there, and just gaining and losing positions left, right, and centre. And I don't think it's all over yet, Alex. I think there's going to be a little bit more battling, and indeed we're going to cut straight back to that now, as Zimmer's looking like he's having to. He was trying to go down the inside, but having to back out of that move, and he's got Zeewink in his rearview mirror as well. So it's a real attack and defend at the moment, as we see in the cars weaving from side to side, really trying to unnerve each other and put some pressure on each other, just to force those mistakes, just to prise that door open and allow them to send that hot potato straight through and send it.
Is that with butter and cream cheese as well, that hot potato?
Whatever makes it through the quickest, Alex. Whatever makes it through the quickest.
Well, if it has an additional bit of success ballast, it'll be absolutely fine. And there goes Benjamin Simmers. Oh, and he tangles with Van der Klaan. Oh, not good at all there. That, I think, was a bit of heated bravado there from Benjamin Simmers, and he turned around Van der Klaan, and then all of a sudden Bart Svedink said, "Thank you very much, gents, you're too kind. You've just opened the door wider than a country mile for me to get on through." Chris Hill has also been making some positional gains. He's actually nearly 1.4 seconds behind Pete Vanier, our resident semi-pro Jedi. Chris Hill, there he is, and he's got a Ferrari right behind him as well. So Chris Hill is battling for what is for 18th position, and that's actually one of the pro drivers. Klaas Vester just behind in the Ferrari. Simon Zimmerman has made his way up 10 positions in all the melee, and Tim Muris has dropped like a proverbial stone all the way down to 21st. So there was nearly a little bit of a love tap on the back bumper of the Honda NSX GT3 of Chris Hill, but he manages to keep things straight and true. He's pointing the ship in the right way, and he's probably saying, "May the force be with you," whilst he's shifting up the gears.
Yeah, look there, that's Zimmerman. He's closing in on that battle in front of him with Wester and Hill. So this is going to be a 3-4-way. Muris is there as well, so it's going to be interesting. We don't normally see Muris behind Hill with respect to Jedi Hill, do we? I mean, it's normally the other way around, but he's obviously using all his intellect, all his powers of Jedi powers and wisdom, and he's managing to keep that car up in 18th place at the moment. But Zimmerman, I feel, is a man on the move, as is Muris, and if Muris keeps pushing Zimmerman, those are going to be two cars to watch, and I'll make a prediction now that one of, if not both of those guys, will be in the top 10 at the end of the race.
Yeah, Michael Hartmann saying, "I think Vester and Valenduk had an incident in the first lap, third corner." Yeah, well, it was towards the further part of the circuit, Michael. It was more like sort of turns 5 and 6 that we did see. So Valenduk did get off the get onto the bad foot very, very early. Probably not through his own making, but Klaas Vester finds himself in 19th. Simon Zimmerman has got Tim Muris. So effectively, what this means in terms of Honda Jedi an approach here, Steve, is that Chris Hill is the Jedi, Tim Muris is the Padawan, even though Tim Muris is in the pro class.
In the end, which one's Jabba the Hutt? Come on. But no,
hey, don't go there on that one. All you need now is Chewbacca to add into that mix, and maybe maybe Han Solo for we're talking about Star Wars during a race, but it's all because it's Chris Hill's fault. Chris, you get the blame for this one well and truly, courtesy of your antics at Suzuka a couple of weeks ago. But Jordi Bakker now trying to send it up the inside of Aaron van Drooijen, does the right thing, keeps out of trouble there. And there is Joris Everleens, 3rd in semi-pro, 11th on the road. And there is Giorgio Raimondi So I'm sort of sensing that with the pace that Yori Bakker's got, he's looking to get the upper hand on Raimondi. Now look at this from a team perspective. Now Bakker's not in the championship fight for semi-pro, but Patrick Vunst is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to sort of question, would there be team orders? Would it be a case of, let's look at the championship, look at the big picture? But you know what? I don't know. I think might be every man for himself, if I know these guys, to be fair, and that's not being disrespectful. I think it's just the racing nature of them, and it's how they're going to push, and it's what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, they do say that all's fair in love and racing, and one of the biggest things you don't do is take out your teammate. As Tim Lewis has a little bit of tangle with Simon Zimmerman. That was through turns 6 and 7, and they both got away with that. I mean, look at the amount of scrapes on the right-hand side of the Nissan GTR Nismo of Simon Zimmerman. That thing has been through probably more than its fair share of scrapes in the first 12 and a quarter minutes. We've got the yellow flags out as Adam Banfield has got past Dan Lenston. Now that is for 6th position on the road. Adam Banfield started in P10. The race winner from Suzuka last time out. Now someone has gone off ever so slightly. I'm wondering whether it might have been someone like maybe say Dave Jr. or Arvin Nam, because the battle between Marquez and Jr. is about 6/10 apart. But Sem Spenklink is treating this like a Sunday afternoon drive in the countryside. He's nearly 3 seconds up on Clayton Barney, and we're less than 13 minutes in, Steve. Sem Spenklink wants to end this race on high.
Yeah, absolutely, and look at this, nearly going 3 wide now with Westerhill, Zimmerman's up there somewhere. There's just cars all over the place with that one, and they're all going side by side, but they've all managed to come out the other side. Just a little bit of shake-up of positions there, I think, but yeah, Jordi Bakker up there in P15, not too far up the road, and then these guys really, really close together, all fighting for position behind him, and all looking to move up the field as they're all taking numerous lines with copious amounts of track, and side by side at a place you do not want to be side by side. You cannot get
that's
through
close.
there. And that's over the track. That's some good driving as we're looking at Chris Hill now just having to take a little bit of avoiding action in the background there as well, but absolutely fantastic driving from these guys, and they're battling every single corner. They're not thinking that you can't pass at this corner, you can't pass at that corner. Every corner, every braking zone, every exit point, every apex, they're all opportunities to these guys. As we're looking there, they're going up the other side. That's Bakker losing out 2 positions in 1 corner. That's how close this is, and that's what can happen here at Hungaroring when you're racing with these guys.
You know what the biggest thing is that Giorgio Raimondi was leading the class. He's now down in 7th position. That's a cent and a half from Klaus Vesta. Absolutely planted it on the inside, and here comes Jordi Bakker. Pete Vanya in the mix there as well. Oh, there's a little bit of a touch. Klaus Vesta sent spinning off the track, and he comes into the... he gets clattered into by Jordi Bakker, who was an unwilling participant. Right, first pit stop's just happened. Adam van Drooinen, just before the 15-minute mark, has decided to pit early. Now, we spoke to him offline before we started this race. Now, look, there is a problem for Raimondi because Bakker's just literally passed him like he was standing still. So I think Giorgio Raimondi's championship hopes of winning the semi-pro class are fast evaporating, because look at where Patrick Vunst is. He is currently P11 overall, but what's even more astounding here, Steve, is that he is 3rd in semi-pro.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all shaking out now, and it is the final round, and the guys that are behind the wheels of these cars, they will know what they have to do to beat their rival, to beat their competition, and to get to where they need to be in their class. And it's they all have the ethic of race hard, work hard, and just go to the checkered flag, because you never know what's going to happen. But there does come a point in the race that if you see your opposition so far up the field, that it does become a little bit demoralising, and it's one of the hardest things to actually keep going. But I'm sure they all will keep going regardless of where they are. We've got a full round of pit stops to go, and we all know what can happen. These are races very much of 2 halves, and things do change very, very quickly. We see mistakes in the pits, we see different strategies regarding tyres, and it does all change up, it shakes up, and anything can happen, and it normally does, as we always say.
Yeah, well, the thing is that even with where Patrick Vance is at the moment, now effectively on total points, it's 40 total overall points for Raimondi, who has dropped way down the order. And the thing is that with regards to the class points, it's dependent on the overall points, which decides their overall classification at the end of it. Now, at the moment, Patrick Vance is P10. That gives him 6 points. And at the moment, Giorgio Raimondi is 19th, which effectively does not score him any points. So Raimondi, even if he's outside of the top 15 come the end of this race reference class points. Now, let's not forget Patrick Vance, Giorgio Raimondi, the likes of Tim Nybo have won the semi-pro class. Effectively, what Patrick Vance needs to do to get ahead, to actually tie on points, but it could go to count back, is that if he gets 6th or higher, right, get this, Patrick Vance provisionally wins the semi-pro title. So he's got some work to do, and I'm looking at what the lap times are from Patrick Vance, and he's actually not that far off of Tim Kroll. Joris Everleens, who's actually leading the class at the moment, that is 8 points. As you can see how close Dave Jr. is getting to Matas Marques rather rapidly, because the gap was 1.1 seconds. We're about to cross the line, as the lead now between Spenkelink and Barney is now 5 seconds. Junior has closed up nearly 0.8 of a second in that previous sector, and now Matas Marques is feeling a little bit hot under the collar here, Steve.
Yeah, well, Marques, the reason I cut to him, to be fair, Alex, he was right on the rear bumper of Barney just before the start-finish straight, looking like he's got the legs on him, and again he's closing back up. But as you rightly say, he's got one eye on Junior in his rear view mirror at this moment in time, because Junior came very, very close to actually running up the rear end of Marques into the final corner and had to take evasive action. So these guys are running hot, they're running close, and they are battling for P2, P3, P4, and I believe P5 potentially. Is Nam out there somewhere?
Yeah, very, very much the case. And I mean, effectively, what we have here are quite a few drivers looking to make their mark, get a bit of confidence, get a bit of pride and bragging rights going into season 4 at the beginning of September. You can head to srhi.eu for all the relevant information of the calendars. Obviously, we've got the final round of season 2 of GT4 Sprint at one of my favourite tracks here on Assetto Corsa Competizione, the iconic Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So join Steve and Tim Fulbrook next week to see how that championship pans out. But at the moment, we've got just under 20 minutes of this race completed. Nearly 40 to go as Sander Vale getting close to Patrick Vance. Now, Patrick Vance, I notice, has got a little bit of damage to the front end of that Lexus, so that is slowing him down considerably, and that's why he's not gaining on Tim Kroll, because effectively, the way things stand, even with Raimondi down in 19th position, effectively Patrick Vance will still finish runner-up in the championship, but he's got to watch himself, because the likes of Dennis Werkman and Bart Sverink are closing in, and Sander Vale is just under 0.3 behind. Bart Sverink, I've just noticed, has done a 1 minute 46.9, and there you've got Dennis Werkman. So those are the other two drivers at the very least. Tim Nybo is out of this at the moment for the runner-up spot in the championship, as that's a bit of a run wide going through T1 into turn 1A for Patrick Vance and Sander Vale. Vance takes the inside line for T2 and keeps it nice and tightly pinned. But Sander Vale here, Steve, is looking rather determined going through turn 3 to close up on Patrick Vance, and you can just see how hard he's pushing. That damage is really hurting Patrick Vance's strategy to try and close in, and the gap between him and Tim Kroll is now nearly a whopping 5.7 seconds. The championship that Vance had actually led right up until Suzuka is now slipping away out of his fingers.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's looking like he's really struggling to get that car turned in, isn't he? He's running deep, he's suffering from understeer, going through most of the corners. The front end is pushing out wide. He's just very fortunate at the moment that he's managed to keep it on a defensive line that hasn't allowed Vale to get past him. But as you rightly say, Workman and Zewinkar catching in the background. They're looking strong. They're gaining, and all the work at the moment, biggest workload is on Wants to keep Vale behind, and he's doing a good job of that. But it's a very, very scruffy drive at the moment, and I think that's probably down to damages. He's a country mile away from that apex again. There, he's just costing himself time, and he's pitting. He's just dived into the pits. That would tell me potentially he's got a puncture, he's got some damage, he's got something that just needs rectifying. He's getting out of there. He's going into the pits, and he's going to try and get the problem sorted and come out a little bit quicker.
Yeah, Dave Jr. out of the top four, the first one to blink, so is pitted just before the 38-minute mark remaining. Matas Marques closing in on Clayton Barney, and Marques actually last time around was 3.5 tenths quicker than the McLaren last time around, so it seems like the degradation on the McLaren 720S's rear tyres seem to be having a bit more of a dramatic effect in this particular phase of the race, the first half of it. But obviously it'll be dependent on how long can Clayton Barney soak up the pressure from Matas Marques, because that's going to be the key point here. Matas Marques has been trying to fight his way at the sharper end of the field this season, but it hasn't always been that easy for the Moto 11 Racing number 20 driver. But you can just see how much more composed Matas Marques is in comparison with how the car is reacting to his precise touch, which is making that car go through the corners. And again, you can just see how much better the Lexus is on the brakes as Marques and Barney go round to complete their 13th lap of racing here at the Hungaroring. So Dave Jr. exits the pits in 22nd. Patrick Vance exits it in around about 23rd position. So we now have a real battle on our hands, but Sem Spanklink just cruising along. He's got the cruise control, probably the aircon switched on in that Porsche 911 GT3R as he leads by 7.3 seconds ahead of the two that we see battling on our screens for the runner-up spot on the rostrum here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just see how Marques closes up on the brakes in that Lexus. Looks very, very tidy, doesn't he? But the McLaren does get out of the corners pretty quick, and we know this McLaren is quite quick in a straight line. It's a bit of a rocket, so that's going to work into Barney's hands. But I do think Marques has got some lap time in him. He's got the pace, he's got the ground, he's managing to keep Barney under pressure, but just not quite enough to force a mistake, and certainly nowhere near enough to take advantage and get an overtake done at the moment. But he's, as we just see at this section of the track, he's just dropped back a little bit, and it'd be interesting to see where, if he can, close back up again, as I'm sure he will, because it's been a little bit of a yo-yo this evening with Marques and Barney. He's dropped back and he's gained again, so it seems to be that a little bit of consistency maybe for both of them in the lap time is lacking, and they're just losing a tenth or two here and there and gaining a tenth or two here and there. But it's going to be interesting to watch as they come round and actually put a lap on somebody. I'm not quite sure who that was. Was it Wanst or I'm not sure. It was one of the Pulse cars anyway that they've just put a lap on. So interesting to see getting laps now, but that's the guys that have got the pit stops out of the way, and it looks like Barney's really fended this one off, as indeed it looks like Marques is hitting the pits. It appears that we have lost Alex, unfortunately, from the comms box. Not quite sure. Maybe he's just having a sabbatical, but I'm sure he'll be back very, very soon. Who knows,
Steve? There you go.
Here he is.
Sabbatical wasn't that quick. It was that quick, wasn't it?
Good lad.
Yeah, and you were spot on. You were spot on with your analysis there. It was Patrick Vance, because I'm actually looking at the live timing at the moment. The number 20. Marques is in the pits. Yeah, we haven't really seen much of some other competitors. The 737 of Brent Wever has actually stayed in the pits. Simon Zimmerman is down in 30th position, but a few have managed to effect their pit stops. Adam Banfield I actually saw going into the pit lane behind Matas Marques, so they'll come out probably just outside of the top 10 as Joris Everleens continues to lead in semi-pro, but he's got Tim Kroll from Lork Racing just behind. So it is Honda versus Lexus on Hungarian soil. And this is for the lead in the semi-pro class. The biggest question that I've really got, Steve, I mean, Patrick Brunt's currently down in 22nd position. He's already done his mandatory pit stop. Now, I'm wondering how he's going to sort of factor in with regards to it, as Martin van der Krans gets a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pits. But this battle here, Tim Krol looks to be a lot better up to pace in comparison with Joris Everleens, and Everleens at the moment was running a little bit slower, I believe, by about the tune of just over 2/10.
Yeah, Kroll's really a man on the move, isn't he, after a steady qualifying session, but race pace he's certainly putting the moves on, and he's up there in P6 on merit basically, and he's getting the lap times in, and he's putting the pressure on the car in front, and he's on that Honda, and he's really trying to get that position done, and I'm sure he will, because he does seem to have a lot more pace. He really is closing up through the twisties. I don't think he's going to get it done on the straight. I think he's going to have to really push. He's just jinking out there, but he's too far back. He's not going to get the move done there. The Honda's hot on the brakes. He's trying to distract Everleens there and just make him miss his braking point, run a little bit deep, but it's not working. He's really he's got to put a little bit more pressure. He's got to try and drive a little bit closer. He's got to be right on the tailgate of that Honda and really force the mistake, force the error, and force the door open. But he's doing a good job. He's got the lap time, and he's certainly trying to put it to good use.
Yep, Arvin Naiman, number 5 Lamborghini, drops out of the top 4. He's now pitted with around about 33 minutes on the clock remaining. So each driver has to take on tyres, which puts them in the pit box for around about 30 seconds. Then you've got a long trundle through the pit lane. It is a lengthy pit lane here at the Hungaroring. There's Klaas Vester closing in on the number 3 of Ron Eiserif, who actually started right at the back end of the field. There's Patrick Treffers in the Nissan. He's having a better turn of pace and also a bit of fortune in comparison with, say for instance, Simon Zimmerman, who came out into qualifying rather late, and that looks to be Yannick Valenduk, I believe, in the SRHI eSports car. The 301 looks to be a lap down, but you can just see that Klaas Vester at the back end gets a little bit tail happy coming out of turns 6 and into 7, and this 5-way train at the minute, Ron Eiserif is the cork in the bottle, and Klaas Vester just waiting to use the momentum carry of that 3.9 litre twin turbo V8 mid-mounted rear-wheel drive or mid-engine rear-wheel drive Ferrari as they're going to go into turn number 11. And you can just see how close it's getting. It doesn't matter whether you're battling for position, as the leader, Sem Spenkelink, on the beginning of lap number 17, has pulled the Porsche into the pit. So this is going to release the likes of Clayton Barney, who now takes the lead on lap number 17 as well. There is a moment, and that was for Klaas Vester going into the pits. I think well, I've seen it before where people have actually ended up in the wall going into the pits, and it's terminally ended their race, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely, but Tim Krol again really on the back of Everleens now in the Honda. Lexus versus Honda power now through the middle section of this lap, and he's managed to crawl that time back, and he's really so much quicker through that corner there, but he's nothing he can do. He wasn't close enough to get it up the inside, but see the Honda protesting there as Everleens tried to get on the power for what is now P3 and P4, and look at that little bit of contact there, and Krol had to back out of that. He was carrying so much more speed, which is always the danger when you're trying to follow so close, but thankfully nothing too bad from that. Nobody got turned, just Krol had to lift out of the throttle, and it's cost him a little bit of time, but he's still there, he's still pushing, and he's still trying to get that third position off Everleens, which I think when the pit stops shake out, it may well be sort of round about 6th, 7th position, I think, Alex.
Yeah, Clayton Barney's just pitted from the lead, and quite a considerable distance ahead of Dan Lenson, who seems to be having a better time. Well, he actually pitted about 8.3 seconds ahead of Dan Lenson as Joris Everleens. Effectively, well, there goes Tim Krol. He's decided to pit just past the halfway mark from what is P3. There's Sem Spenkelink. He's going to be closing in, hand over fist, as Patrick Treffers is the second driver I've now seen that has had a stop-go cleared. There's also been one that's been given to the 21 car, a bit further down the order, so 3 cars hit, and that was, funnily enough, Simon Zimmerman. So Patrick Treffer's race is going to go from bad to worse. There goes Ron Eiserif, who pulls into the pit lane from 8th position on the road, and that was 6th in semi-pro. Joris Evelyn still continues to lead the class, but the good thing is Sem Spankelink has just up ahead, that is the 301 of Yannick Valenduk, whose Lamborghini looks a little bit more battle-scarred than Yannick would actually like to have after what happened earlier on. But good thing is we now see that Tim Kroll has pitted. Clayton Barney coming out of the pits, and he could very well be in 5th place. There's Dan Lenson, who leads the way after what is now, we're on to the 18th lap of this 2.722 mile circuit, 28.5 minutes to go. And your leaders at the moment, Dan Lenson is the de facto leader, but not the person that we know that will be the leader after the pit stop cycle continues to its inevitable conclusion for the 9th and final time this season. It will be Sem Spankelink. Joris Evelins continues to lead the semi-pro class. He took pole position in the class a little bit earlier on. Zana Vale, Dennis Bergman and Giorgio Raimondi. Raimondi is the one that is looking for the semi-pro title. And we'll see when the Italian in the number 58 Audi decides to pit. Dimitri Schenk, who started in 31st position, has gone all the way up into P9 and still has yet to... and I think Patrick Vance championship hopes are have been dealt a killer blow, because Patrick Vance is still in the pit lane and he's had a drive-through for good measure. So Patrick Vance, I think, is out of the championship hunt. It's now Raimondi's to lose.
Yeah, absolutely devastating. We've seen Treffers there, as you said, I think with a stop-go 30, which would I imagine be for speeding in the pit lane. Patrick once potentially, that could be for speeding in the pit lane, or it could be track limits, not quite sure. But we've got some battling further down the field here, with a few cars just very, very close together. We've got Simon Pike there looking to try and get past the Audi ahead, but he's struggling, and the Audi's trying to get past the Ferrari. Well, it's a Lexus. I'm not sure that Lexus is actually... Is that Zerwink in P22, Alex? I think it is, isn't it?
Zwirink?
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Let's just have a... Yeah, it is the case. Well spotted there, Steve. So yeah, I mean, it just goes to show how quickly things can actually change, and we've seen it time and time, hand over fist here this season over the previous 9 rounds. And you know, you look at it from this perspective, it's really changed how things... it was actually... I think, let me just have a look. No, I was wrong in what I said. It was actually Jordi Barkos that took pole position in semi-pro. So, and Evelins actually started down in 11th position. So Joris Evelins looking to convert effectively a de facto front row start in semi-pro to a victory and become the latest different winner. And to be honest with you, I've been really impressed with Joris Evelins, but he's only just under 1.3 seconds behind... he's 1.3 seconds behind Tim Kroll, who actually is second in semi-pro. Dennis Verkman will help his chances no end, as both Dan Lenson and Dennis Verkman, with just under 26 minutes to go, decide to serve their mandatory pit stop, and this will then cycle through that Sem Spankelink becomes the back again to being the race leader. And Adam Banfield, he's another one in the Porsche, and look how close he is to Matas Marques. And what's more, Adam Banfield last time around, Steve, was a whopping 1.3 seconds quicker than the Lexus last time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all good racing here. I mean, I'm just looking further back as well, and Jordi Backer's having a good battle with Raimondi at the moment, and I'm going to cut to that in a second. I'm just going to get this turn 1 out of the way to see if there's any movers or shakers here between these two, but it's not looking like it. And we'll just go a little bit further down the field now and just see this, because these two have been really shaping up to take chunks out of each other, respectfully as it were, and looking like Backer's getting really impatient behind that Audi of Raimondi now, and he's looking to try and move forward, whether he's got the legs on it, because we know that Audi is a pretty quick car, and it's a pretty and Raimondi is a pretty handy driver, Alex. He knows what he's doing, and he'll know how to defend.
Yeah, but Raimondi at the moment, P15, well, effectively it didn't matter whether he didn't score, but it was all down to Patrick Vance and his opportunity to go for the semi-pro title, which he led before heading into Suzuka a fortnight ago. And Raimondi has been like the cat that's got the cream, now knows that all he needs to do, it doesn't matter where he finishes, as long as he finishes the race, he knows that he's got that title. But the biggest quandary here, Steve, is who is going to end up second. Now, just by remembering who was where in the championship standings coming into this round, as we now head to Benjamin Simmers ahead of Tim Muris, with Muris on a recovery drive. Now, effectively, Dennis Werkman is on course to possibly take second in the championship, and his nearest competitor, Bart Sverink, Sverink's down in 21st. Nybo is out of the battle for the... looking at it from this perspective, Dennis Werkman, he will have enough total points. 12th position will net him 4 points, and he was 1 point behind Patrick Vance coming into this round. So that effectively means that Patrick Vance has not only lost the opportunity to battle for the championship, but he's also lost second place in the standings. So Patrick Vance doing all that hard work, it's been undone unceremoniously, damaging the first half of the race, and then ends up in the pits, and he has not moved since. A real shame for Patrick. But obviously we know that he'll be coming back next season and trying to go for that title once again.
Yeah, absolutely, and as we always say, you know, when things like that, when it's taken almost out of the driver's hands, as it were, with penalties that are handed out. The penalties are handed out for a reason, you know, track limits, speed in the pit lane, whatever it is, it's an infringement of the rules, and the penalties are handed out. But it is a crying shame when it does affect the overall championship, and you know, as I said, it's very difficult as a driver to really sort of come to terms with that and get back on the track and, you know, get back in the driving seat and race like you know you're going to win something, because you know really it's all been taken away from you. But that is the nature of championships, and that's what goes on. But it doesn't matter how far back down the field we go, we get some racing. And look at these two guys here. We've got Zwewink and the Audi behind in 22, looking to go around the outside. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Thank you, Alex. That's not going to happen.
And also watch out, because they've got Simon Pike just behind. We've seen Simon Pike in action in multiple different Assetto Corsa Competizione leagues, including SimSport Racing as well, quite recently in the recent GT4 race for SimSport Racing at Laguna Seca last week, if memory serves me correctly. So, I mean, effectively, you know, Simon Pike has had his moments through this season, but Ron Eiserif, we haven't seen him. I don't think we saw him at Suzuka, but he's had a little bit of a break. Some of the other drivers have decided, well, I could do with a little bit of a holiday. I mean, everyone in the current situation, once they get a chance to, whether it's a local or in a nearby country, they're going to take that opportunity and have a little bit of me time, as they say. But good to see that Ron Eiserif, he's been battling at the sharper end of the semi-pro grid at some points this year, and he's giving Bart Zwering a real run for his money as they go into the next right-hander. And has Eiserif got the run? Well, Zwering runs a little bit wide. Eiserif will have the outside line and gets the switch back. Oh, nearly runs through a bumper. But that was a brilliant... That was textbook. But the thing is that Zwering will have the run going through into the final corner. But with the way that Audi is planted on the ground, just look at how quickly Ron Eiserif is going to try and pull alongside. Now, in capacity, it's nearly the same between the two. 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 behind a 5.4 litre naturally aspirated V8, and Ron Eiserif is absolutely throwing caution to the wind. And here comes Simon Pike to throw in his 2 cents. Again, another run wide through turn 1, through turn 1A, and Eiserif has possibly got that V10 engine screaming to the rev limiter, which is around about 8,800 RPM, and he's just doing his absolute best. This is what we love about SRHI. It is fantastic battling up and down the field. We are fast approaching our last 20 minutes of this race, and pretty much 29 of the 31 drivers that started have all done their mandatory pit stops. So it is time to put the pedal to the metal. It's time to go for glory, for pride, for bragging rights. And to get yourself a little bit of motivation. It's all mistake there through turn 7 from Zwering. Nearly opens the door for Eiserif, but Eiserif not close enough. This is the battle for 21st, 22nd and 23rd, and these 3 drivers covered by less than 0.6 of a second. You can see how determined and motivated Ron Eiserif is, looking to get past the number 12 Lexus of Bart Zwering but I don't think it's over yet by a long sight. And if Zvirdink makes any more mistakes, Ron Izerif will be up there quicker than a rat up a drain pipe.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, just watching other battles, and it's Banfield is still on the back of Marques, not being able to make any inroads there. We have Van Drunen, who is literally he's about a second off the back of Tim Krol. He's just lost a bit of time to him, but Krol up to 8th place, so he's past Van Drunen, I think, who is now in 9th place. I'm not quite sure how that's going, but very, very close on the track. This is the closest battle at this moment in time, and it is very intense, and it's looking like Simon Pike is really wanting to have a go at that Audi now, and he's going to start trying to make some moves. He takes a very, very wide entry in, which can give you a good drive out, but you've got very limited time to use that good drive before you are now slowing it down, albeit not much, for the next fast left-hander here, which is a tricky corner. If you get that wrong, it can end in all sorts of tears off into the scenery, but they are all concertinaing back up again, and this is one hell of a close battle, Alex. And let's not forget, this is down in 21st, 22nd, 23rd position. This is fantastic racing from these boys, and this is a never give up attitude, and they want every position they can get. They want to move forward, and they are going to battle hard all the way for the last 18 minutes, as we just strike under 18 minutes on the clock. And yeah, great battling all the way. The man that's not having to battle too hard at the moment, though, is Sem Spenkling, who's got that very, very comfortable lead out in front, and he's really controlling this race. He's not doing anything too stupid, as we see.
Oh, Izerif around the outside. Oh my goodness me, that is absolutely brazen at its level best, and Ron Izerif absolutely sent it around the outside of Bart Zvirdink. He's got the inside run for this corner. Does the Audi have the purchase in front of the Lexus? It does. That was beautifully done. Two nice bits of racecraft from Ron Izerif, gives him the opportunity and gets him past Bart Zvirdink. And it's now Bart Zvirdink coming under fire from that 4-litre twin-turbo V8 Aston Martin Fettled Mercedes engine underneath that clamshell bonnet of the number 13 of Dynamic Motorsport. Simon Pike, he looks up the inside of turn 1. Oh, and he nearly got into the back right of Bart Zvirdink, but he narrowly avoided that. I think Simon Pike just lost one of his 9 lives if he was a cat as they're going through into turn 2. Pike taking a little bit of a tighter line, but Zvirdink keeping it nice and tidy on the apex. I don't know how Simon Pike got out of that one in the last second, but I think he probably just added a bit more brake pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. He found a little bit more stopping power somewhere, didn't he, just to avoid contact there, but that was very, very close. But you know, it's be as close as you like as long as you don't hit them, so that's about putting pressure on that car in front. That's about scaring the bejesus out of him as well, making him make a mistake. But
well, it scared the bejesus out of you, didn't it?
Absolutely. I thought there was contact. I'm not going to lie, I thought he was into the back of him, because it looked like he was stuffing his nose down the inside more than anything, and I thought it was going to be a little bit of contact. But I see P18 now has a drive through as well, so that's going to drop him down a few places and promote the likes of Chris Hill, Wester. That he's definitely going to gain positions from that unfortunate drive-through. Yeah,
Tim Nyberg, one of the class winners here in semi-pro this season. Adam Banfield has closed quite considerably on Matas Marques, so this is going to be the battle for P4. Now, when you think about this, the purchase of the Porsche in the hands of Sam Spenkling, who now has nearly an 11-second cushion, leading this race on lap number 25 ahead of Clayton Barney in the McLaren, the sole McLaren in this field. Dave Jr. 6.7 seconds behind the number 85 in third place. And now Matas Marques and Adam Banfield are running consistently on pace. Banfield 1 minute 45.627 the last lap. Matas Marques 1 minute 45.651. So they are running consistently. And there is the champion-elect in semi-pro, Giorgio Raimondi, who is in the points. What's more, he's ahead, more significantly, ahead of Jordi Bakker. But Dennis Werkman, a couple of positions up from Raimondi, is on course to take second in semi-pro this very evening, as they go to the left, then to the right, through these fast, sweeping technically challenging and demanding corners at this circuit, as Jordi Bakker, our pole sitter in semi-pro this evening, finds himself behind the number 58. And then you've got Benjamin Simmers and Pete Vanyer battling away over what is 16th in the overall classification of the race, but more importantly, that is 7th in semi-pro. And when you look at the gaps between Muris, Raimondi, Bakker, Simmers and Vanyer, okay, that gap is going to be just shy of around 1.8 seconds between those drivers. That is how close things get. As that was close from Benjamin Simmers, who had an incident with Martin van der Klaan earlier on in the race. Nearly went into the into the right rear of Jordi Bakker. And here comes Pete Vanyer looking to try and go one way, looks to the right and then to the left of Benjamin Simmers, but the Audi can't get past the 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 powered Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo, as Tim Muris, who started right up at the sharp end of the field, he started in 7th. He's done a really good recovery drive to get that Honda NSX GT3 Evo from Dynamic Motorsports back up into 13th, and effectively that will classify him in, I think that would be effectively, let me just count this here now, 9th in Pro, as we have 13 minutes on the clock remaining. So top 3 in the respective classes. Sem Spenkelink leads overall and is on the verge of securing the runner-up status in the championship standings for Pro, as Jordi Bakker closing in on Giorgio Raimondi. Dave Jr. rounding out the top 3. He's had a couple of podiums this season, has Dave Jr., the American driver. Tim Kroll leading in 8th place in semi-pro, and it's Joris Everlings rounding out the top 10, and then Xander Vale as Jordi Bakker flashing the lights at Giorgio Raimondi, possibly gesticulating and maybe using some industrial language in his headset, as if to say to Giorgio Raimondi, sorry mate, that wasn't really on, wasn't it? Well, the thing is, Raimondi's got the racing line, and he can actually defend within the regulations. And I just think it's just a bit of frustration from Jordi Bakker.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, maybe he felt he moved in the braking zone, which they aren't allowed to do, really. You know, you can't change your line once you've committed to that braking zone. But, you know, it's racing at the moment, it's the heat of the moment, and whether it's frustration or just intimidation, those lights are flashing away, and Jordi Bakker wants that position for Raimondi, and this is the battle. This is the absolute battle on the field at the moment. We've got Raimondi chasing Muris, but defending from Bakker, and we've got is that Simmers just in the background as well, just keeping a watchful brief, and Vanyer behind him as well, ready to pick up the pieces. So this really is like a 5-car battle.
Was close.
That's got him up the inside, and he's got that move done. He's going to have track position potentially. Bakker's going to defend hard, and he does defend hard, but he's going to compromise on the exit, and the guy that could benefit here is Vanyer, way back there. I'm not quite sure, but he's looking like he's closed right back up, couldn't gain any advantage, but potentially he was the one that was going to gain, and he's still looking to get the run out there. Is Vanyer, he's alongside the Mercedes.
Yeah, Benjamin Simmers went up the inside of Jordi Bakker, but Jordi Bakker just used the pure momentum and grip that Lexus had in order to keep ahead of the Mercedes. So Benjamin Simmers nearly had a bit of contact with the right rear of Jordi Bakker, but that was very, very close indeed. Pete Vanyer still has the ringside seat for that position, and there is Jordi Bakker, and he's now dropping off of the tail end of Giorgio Raimondi to the tune of about 1.3 seconds, and Raimondi now senses an opportunity to try and close in and get past Tim Muris. Now this is for position out on the track, but this is 5th, and effectively this will give another couple of points to Raimondi. Raimondi just needs to finish where he is, but Italian won't be satisfied, because through it all, even if you're wanting to win a championship or finish runner-up in a championship, you're going to keep on pushing. You're going to push the limits of adhesion right up until the checkered flag. And as I say that, we have 10 minutes to go. 600 seconds of racing left in SRHI GT3. Season 3 to go, and Sem Spenkelink's lead over the number 85 of Odyssey Racing's Clayton Barney in the McLaren 720S GT3 now stands at over 12.6 seconds, and Spenkelink, Steve, is lapping the only driver at the moment, and I think has only been the only driver to do so all race long. He is running in nigh on the mid 1 minute 44.6s. Spenkelink is signing off this season in style with the way he has just commanded everything, the dominance through qualifying, and now he's coming up to lap one of the. As Benjamin Simmers now gets a drive-through penalty for track limits, and that brings him out of that fight with the likes of Raimondi and Vanier. So Vanier will end up in 16th position, but Raimondi still trying. Well, it looks like Raimondi's actually given a position back to Jordi Bakker, or has. Raimondi had a bit of a moment, and well, according to the timing, I can't see whether that's the case, but they're about to come across the stripe. Yeah, Jordi Bakker did a 1 minute 45.7, Raimondi a 1:47.6, and the majority of the time that he lost was in both sectors 2 and 3.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see if Bakker, now he's got past Raimondi, can he take it to Muris and keep up with that Honda in front? I think he can, looking at the pace he's got there, because he's pulling away from Raimondi, and he's closing up onto the back of that Honda of Muris. So it's looking like, he's gonna, with this battling is not over, and Bakker's going to keep pushing forward for another position at this moment in time. I think that's inevitable, and we're going to battle down. I mean, I can't believe 5 months is now coming down to the last 8 minutes here of racing at SRHI, and what a race it's been. We've had a couple of quiet moments, but generally there has been a battle or some battles out on the track, and as always it's been very clean, very respectful racing, been fantastic to be part of for this season, Alex, and I for one have really enjoyed it.
The feeling is mutual. The feeling is mutual, Steve Proudley. The feeling is well and truly mutual. 7.5 minutes on the clock. Jordi Bakker still battling away with the Honda NSX, the number 9 of Dynamic Motorsports, Tim Muris, as they make their way down in towards what will be the latter couple of corners on this circuit. You can just see how hard Jordi Bakker is pushing. He's trying to force Muris into an uncharacteristic unforced error, but they're now going to go through into turn 12A and then into the 13th and final corner on this circuit. The gap last time around was just under 3 tenths between the pair. You can see that Giorgio Raimondi is closing in. Raimondi was nearly a second behind Jordi Bakker. That's now dropped to just over 6 tenths. As this battle for what is effectively 13th on the road is going on, and we're just waiting for the pin on the grenade to be pulled. Will it be Jordi Bakker? Will it be Tim Muris? Will it be Giorgio Raimondi? Well, we've got 6.5 minutes or so, plus whatever lap that we might be on at the end of this race, because Sam Spenkelink is just about to cross the line, which he does now, and goes on to lap number 31. And at the pace that he's setting at the moment, a 1 minute 45.306, I would say, Steve, that we've probably got another 4 laps of racing, including this one to go, which will put us on 34 laps to conclude the season here at the Hungaroring.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an awesome performance from Sem this evening. He has done everything and a little bit more that he can do. He's not gone really stupid. He's not tried to push, although, as you pointed out, he is the fastest man on track, but I would suggest he's the fastest man on track, but still within his comfort zone, driving absolutely phenomenal race, and you can't take it away from him, can you? He's put on the dominant performance this evening. We've seen it within his driving throughout the season. He's shown us flashes of brilliance. He's had a win. He won at Barcelona, if memory serves me correctly. He drove a very good race there.
Close. It's getting rather close between this trio once again. Jordi Bakker now being closed in hand over fist. He nearly had an opportunity to get past Tim Muris, and then Giorgio Raimondi. Sorry to cut across you there, Steve, but Raimondi was there waiting on the ringside seat and hoping that the two in front would tangle, but he nearly tangled with the back bumper of Jordi Bakker if he wasn't very careful indeed. But we enter into the last 5 minutes of this season. Bakker looking to send it up the inside of Muris, and it's going to get close. There could be contact. There is, and Jordi Bakker turns himself around, and Giorgio Raimondi gets through, and there comes Pete Vanier. So Jordi Bakker, that was on his own behest, I'm afraid to say. As now Joris Everleens closing in on Arnon van Drooyen in the Pro Sim Rig Racing Mercedes-Benz. He's done a really good job as Aaron van Droonen. Started down in 16th overall. He's been running consistently in 9th place. Mercedes hasn't probably been the machine that could have helped him here at the Hungaroring, but he's kept Joris Evelins at bay. And the good thing is for Tim Krol, this gives the 933 Lexus from Lork Racing all the motivation he needs, because at the minute Adam van Droonen is nearly 7 seconds away from the back bumper of the 933 that currently leads the semi-pro class.
Yeah, absolutely. It's some great driving. Van Droonen done really well tonight as well. As we said, his qualifying wasn't great. He got up into the teens, but he's put in a solid performance, and now he's just got to defend for just under, around about 4 minutes from Evelins, who's really going to put the pressure on. We know that that's a quick Honda that's behind him, and he's going to really sort of get the hammer down, and he's going to make Van Droonen work for that position. But I'm sure he's up to the challenge, and I'm sure he'll relish the challenge. But again, just going back to Spenklink, who's literally got a couple more laps to go. He's still doing what he needs to do. He's still putting the laps in, and he's still pretty much, yes he is, the fastest man on the track. I mean, lights out, qualifying, pole position, lights to flag leading. I mean, you can't really say any fairer than that, can you, Alex?
No, not at all, Steve. And the biggest thing that I did say was how Sam Spanklink would react to Clayton Barney in the affectionately known as the torque monster, the McLaren 720S GT3. But the launch that Sam Spanklink, he timed that start. He caught Clayton Barney napping going into turn 1, as Dan Lenson has just had Adam Banfield pass him. Banfield finishing on the top step of the virtual podium last time out at the Suzuka International Racing Course, our penultimate round of the season just a fortnight ago, and this duo battling away. But I spy with my little eye a little Lamborghini Huracan not too far adrift, and there it is. Arvin Nam is now going to close in. But what is this battle here for 5th, 6th and 7th? And as I say that, going up towards turn number 4 is our race leader, Sam Spanklink, on the verge of securing the runner-up spot in the championship as he gets past the number 20. Oh, now the 21 has just stopped on track, and that is going through into turn 5. And that car is, I'm just trying to pick out who it was, the 21, that's Simon Zimmerman. His race has gone from bad to worse, and it's not the way that he would have liked to have finished this evening. But Dan Lenson closing in, and I now spot that going through into turn 10 very shortly for what will be more than likely the penultimate time is our current race leader. So Sam Spankelink, it's going to be the end of this lap. We are now into the last minute and 40, so this will be the final lap of this race. We'll be on to 34 laps. That will be just over 142 kilometres of racing here at the Hungaroring, which effectively works out to, if I can just get my calculations right, around about 90 or so miles, as Dan Lenson trying to do everything in his power. And now the leader on to the final lap, Giorgio Raimondi, very shortly, wherever he is at the moment. He will be on the verge of securing the semi-pro title, and Raimondi currently 13th in the race at the moment, and he is just making his way through turn 9 as we speak. But it has been an absolute dominant display. Fastest in free practice, pole position in qualifying, got the textbook lightning fast start at the beginning of the race just under an hour ago. As we head into the last 35 seconds, Dan Lenson towards the outside of Adam Banfield as they go into turn 1 for what will be their last competitive lap of this season. But Banfield gets the cutback. Now into turn 1A, and Lenson will set himself up to have the inside run going through into turn 2. Lenson gets the advantage and gets back up on the inside of the Porsche through turn 3, and now Adam Banfield's got to do all that hard work again. But in the meantime, we now have to somewhat concentrate on the man that is going to secure second in the championship. No Niels van der Kikelt from the last 3 rounds, and it has been a bit of an arduous affair as the timer strikes 0. And here it is. It has been one person that has dominated proceedings above all else. Bart Sverning gets the drive-through penalty after the timer hitting 0. but we have one more corner to go. It has been a perfect race evening. The Grand Chelem, the race victory, and provisionally second in Season 3 of GT3. It goes the way to Round 9 winner. He's won 3 this season. Sem Spenkelink from Dark Sky Racing takes the checkered flag after 34 laps of racing. A great effort from Clayton Barney. Didn't manage to get the jump on Spenkelink, but had a point to prove, and he's proved it tonight. He's taken second. Ron Isari finishes in 18th. Dave Jr. takes a P3 finish at the end of the season. A great run from the American in the Artworks Braun GP Mercedes. As there is Matas Marques rounding out the top 4, but the person I'm now concentrating on is Giorgio Raimondi, who's at the far point of the circuit. Dan Lenson takes 5th ahead of Adam Banfield. Arvin Nam closed in to within 7/10 of a second. Bart Svidink gets a time penalty added because of the drive-through. There is Giorgio Raimondi, and the Italian is literally corners away. He's about to make his way through the right-hander here at turn 10 for the final time. He's ahead of Tim Meuris, and it was all about what Patrick Vance was going to do this evening. Well, Patrick Vance's race ended abruptly, so all Raimondi had to do was consider about one thing and one thing alone, and that was finishing the race. Well, he's not only just finished the race, he's actually taken 5th in semi-pro. The Class 1 by Tim Kroll. Joris Eveleen's in 10th, and Dennis Vakman rounding out the top 3 with Zandervale in 4th. But Giorgio Raimondi comes out of the final corner. The Italian wins the championship at the final round of the season by finishing 13th ahead of Tim Meuris. Congratulations also to Aaron van Drooinen for rounding out the top 9. But we have 2 champions officially crowned. One this evening before we'd even gotten started, because effectively going into Suzuka, it was George Boothby who has sat out the last 2 rounds of the season. And we have seen 2 different race winners in 2 different races. Adam Banfield last time out at Suzuka. This evening, Sem Spenkelink, untouchable, and was not denied second in the championship in Pro. And also, after all that hard work coming undone from Patrick Vance, it was Giorgio Raimondi from Italy that took the semi-pro title. He literally had nigh on secured it at Suzuka, but it had to be decided here, Steve, and that was rather crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Some fantastic racing and some fantastic battling all season long, but that was a very, very dominant performance from Sem there, and just no words can take anything away from him. That was just absolutely awesome. What can you say? The battling throughout the field, the driving standards have been awesome. The competitive spirit has been absolutely fantastic. The banter within the Discord server and in the YouTube chat, the viewership. We've got to thank everyone for joining us week after week with the GT3s and really making it worthwhile to do this production. And the post live views. We've always had good views on these videos. Once the race is finished and the drivers come back and analyse how they've got on, so it's been absolutely fantastic, and it's been great to have everybody join us for interviews at the end of the race. And speaking of people joining us for interviews, Alex, it looks like we have Padawan Jedi Chris Hill waiting to come and talk to us.
Well, let's bring him in without further ado. Let's bring in our resident fellow Brit, Chris Hill. Chris, firstly, good evening. Well, that was an intense race for the final one of the season, wasn't it?
It was, and good evening to everybody watching in the world of tube of you.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely an interesting battle.
Yeah, the Jedi mind tricks have definitely been happening here at Hungaroring, let alone what happened last time out at Suzuka 2 weeks ago, buddy.
Yes, I tried carrying on, but I lost the skill halfway through, let's say.
Well, you had a bit of an Alex Wirtz moment where he said, I've just run out of talent. But, I mean, nevertheless, you started P24, you finished 21st, but we saw you battling round about sort of like top 15 a little bit earlier on in the race. I mean, you were looking good in practice, but it's rather difficult with so many competitive drivers here in Sim Racing Hub International, especially with the top tier of GT3, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, and we've got some excellent drivers here. There's a few that have to sign off tonight because there's some football match on or something. I don't know what they're going on.
Yeah, apparently so.
But just to rub it into the Germans, we won.
Hey, look. The thing is, what you've got here is an Anglo-German commentator. here, so it didn't matter who would win at the end of the match. I was quidsing either way if I put a bet in either, but I'm not a betting man.
Absolutely. I just wanted to thank everybody for the season. Everybody that's watched the Sim Racing Hub International GT3 season. Obviously, it's the last round, as you probably mentioned a few times. We look forward to the next season starting on the 7th of September. But don't forget, there is a GT4 race next week.
Yes, indeed. Season finale for Season 2 at the Nürburgring. Chris, well done tonight. Good to see you having your own good inter-car battles this evening, and well done tonight, buddy.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your commentating, guys.
No problem at all. You're more than welcome. Well, without further ado, he's been absolutely dominant tonight, and provisionally he has secured the runner-up spot in the overall Pro Championship this season. Dark Sky Racing's Sem Spenkling. Sem, you basically got what we call in the United Kingdom the Grand Chelem, so fastest lap of the race, pole position in qualifying, fastest in free practice, and you won by nearly 15 seconds. How are you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, ecstatic about this first place. Really, after the affairs I had last race in Suzuka, where I was it Suzuka? Yeah, Suzuka.
Yeah.
Where I totally fucked up with my pit limiter and
industrial language, please.
totally beeped up with my.
Yeah, you marked up your strategy.
yeah. So that went completely wrong, and I was eager to take revenge. I expected a really strong competition at the front here with, probably my teammate Nart and people like Boothby, but there were some no-shows, as Chris indicated, and. Unfortunately for me, I could pull away pretty quickly from the start. I had a strong pace, and then I just tried to really put in consistent lap times. I just aimed at those 44.5s, and I could hit them like every lap. So that was really nice. And then pit stop went fine this time, so secured the lead. And as you said, P2 in the championship, I think maximum for me this year. So really happy.
I mean, also, one of the other things that myself and Steve were talking about before, things went green, you got an absolutely brilliant launch ahead of Clayton Barney. Now, we know that the McLaren on the start phases can be rather powerful, but the Porsche came into its own. You just literally gunned the throttle and pulled away, and you'd made, I think, by the end of the first lap, you were about a second ahead of the McLaren. So from then on, it was just like a case of just managing everything. Obviously the temperatures were quite high, 44 degrees in practice on the track temp, but we ended up with around about 40, 42, 43 going into the start. I mean, were you quite confident on how the degradation was going to serve you well with the Porsche, especially with the fact that it's the heaviest car on the grid?
Yeah, I was a bit wary of that, so I made some last moment setup changes to make sure that the tires were in good shape. They were a little bit on the yellowish side in terms of heat, but I think I managed them well. In the end, I was a bit afraid that they would blister, but halfway the stint, putting the traction control up by a click or so helped a lot, and then I could manage them relatively easy.
Well, Sam, congratulations, second in the championship, well done. Hopefully we'll see you back for Season 4, my friend.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. Thank you for the great commentating and broadcasting this season, guys, and I hope to see more.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sam Spenkling from Dark Sky Racing, our runner-up this season behind the very absent George Boothby. So we've got one more interview. You know what? I'm going to hand this one over to my good partner in crime, Steve Proudley. Take it away with Mr. Aaron van Drooinen, who started down in 16th and ended up finishing a very good, well-placed 9th at the checkered flag.
Good evening, Aaron. How are you, buddy? And my first question is, have you got lost? You're in the commentary box, buddy. This is for the podium finishers, mate.
Goodbye.
No, welcome, mate. Welcome. And I was championing you through that race. I thought you were going to do well. You qualified was not too bad, although you did leave it till late in the qualifying session to sort of climb up the order a little bit. And the race seemed fairly solid. Were you happy with that performance? Was that the best you could do this evening, do you think, or was there more opportunities that you just couldn't take?
First of all, I'm happy to finish a race. I started with low fuel at the start. tried to pick up as many places as I could, and then go for a long second stint. And I had some great benefits of it, so I'm happy of it. And it was probably the best thing I could do.
Yeah, it looked a very it was a fun race. I think this evening there was a lot of good battling out there. There was a lot of close battles. There was a little bit of contact, but generally everybody kept their noses clean, as it were. It's fair to say, and there was some pretty good and confident moves. It has to be said. So yeah, I mean, championship wise, like you say, your season's been a little bit up and down. You haven't always had the best of luck on your side. There've been a few incidents that haven't been your fault, shall we say, that have put you out of a few races. So it's very, very good to see you finish. What's next on the agenda for Aaron? What races are we going to see you in next?
Well, that's a good question. I hope to join the 4th season, and I hope you guys can do it too. But first of all, my main focus is now the Endurance Championship, and we'll see from there.
I think your first focus, my friend, is on that unborn baby that's due very soon, mate.
Yeah, especially that.
Yeah, obviously the wife doesn't watch the streams.
No, she doesn't.
No, well, I want to wish you on a personal level all the best with family life, with the move and with the new family. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on you in the endurance seasons, and hopefully we'll see you back next season. And even if I'm not invited back to broadcast and commentate, I will definitely watch whenever and wherever I can, mate, because the racing within this league, SRHI, is very, very competitive, generally very clean, and it's an absolute fantastic and a pleasure to watch and to be part of, mate. So well done.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure to have you guys on board, and I really hope you'll all be here with us next season.
Well, we are available at this time, and we look forward to it if you guys want us on board. But we'll speak more about that off air, mate. All it leaves for me to say is well done this evening on actually getting a decent finish, and take it away. You must be happy with that, and like I say, all the best for the future, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Over to you, Alex. I mean, final words got to go to you, buddy. You know, you did a lot of the talking this evening, obviously, as I'm doing the broadcasting, and some fantastic commentary from you throughout the season. It has to be said, mate. Just want to commend you on that one, and you know, thank you for a great partnership here. And I've really enjoyed this season with you. 5 months, it's gone as quick as a flash.
Well, considering the fact of where we both started commentating alongside each other, SimSport Racing, and then obviously things grew from there, and here we are. We've completed another season working alongside each other, so the pleasure is all mine, my friend. It has been an absolute joy once again, as always. The banter before we go on and off air here at Sim Racing Hub International. So, champions pretty much confirmed. George Boothby, your pro champion for Season 3, and Italy's Giorgio Raimondi picks up the semi-pro title here at the Hungaroring. A fitting end to Season 3 here at Round 9. In the Magyarod region, where the current Formula 1 Hungarian Grand Prix is held. It has been a real love affair with this championship since we started back in early February, but nearly 5 months later our champions have been crowned, and now the anticipation is bearing fruit, ready for when Season 4 kicks into high gear in early September, the 7th of September, where Monza will host the opening round of season number 4. It has been a pleasure working alongside my good friend Steve Proudley here on the official Tier 1 presentation in association with SimSport Solutions. So, the dust has finally started to settle. But there's one last hurrah for Season 2 GT4 at the Nürburgring next week, the 6th of July. A 1-hour race to decide who will be the pro and the semi-pro champions. You won't want to miss that one, because you'll have to join Tim Fulbrook and Steve Proudley for that one. And one final note from me, Alex Goldschmidt. As they say, adieu, adieu, parting is such sweet sorrow. But on the horizon, more GT3 action awaits here at Sim Racing Hub International. Thank you very much for watching. Good night, and see you again soon. Take care.